All right, and then we're gonna scoop.
Like snow.
It does look like snow, doesn't it? Okay, hold on, we gotta get a full scoop.
Okay.
We're gonna do 1 cup of sugar.
That's so warm.
Yeah, I know, right? It seems like
some of them fell.
And then my assistant here is going to stir it for me. All right, so she is going to stir our lemon zest and sugar together to really flavor the sugar as well as possible. And you can start with a fork, and if you want to, you can even rub the sugar and lemon zest together in your hands to really activate the oils that are in the zest. And while she's doing that, I'm going to do our dry ingredients. We need 2 1/4 cups of flour, and we're going to sift all of our dry ingredients together. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm eyeballing it. Now we sift. I don't have to rub the zest with the sugar because she will do it for me very thoroughly. So we need 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds. If you don't like the crunch and texture in your muffins, I'm sure you could omit it and it would be totally fine. And then the recipe also calls for 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but it also calls for unsalted butter, which I didn't have at the moment. So we're just going to do a little pinch of salt and let the rest of the salt in the butter do its job. And then we're going to give this a stir. We need 2 tablespoons of lemon zest for our muffins. So I'm going to go ahead and use my microplane zester, which I have had for years, and it's held up well. No rust or anything like that. And I'm going to very carefully zest my lemons. We need, I think I said this already, 2 tablespoons, just in case I didn't. Now this recipe is actually from the Preppy Kitchen here on YouTube. I believe his name is John. So full credit to him on this recipe. I'm going to go ahead and link both his YouTube channel as well as the blog post with this recipe so that you can A, try the recipe for yourself, and B, got to give credit where credit is due. So just being really careful not to get any of the white part of the lemon in the bowl. We want all of the beautiful zest with all the oils that come with that to really help flavor our muffins. And then we're going to add sugar to this bowl. We're going to add 1/3 cup of milk into the bowl with the sugar. Yep, pour it all in. Good job. Awesome. And we're also going to do a half a cup of melted butter. Do you want to pour this one in too?
Yeah.
Okay, nice and carefully. Good job. Okay, and now we're going to put in 1 cup of, it says whole milk Greek yogurt. And I did end up using vanilla because I didn't have plain when I went to the store. So, or they didn't, I should say. So we're using vanilla Greek yogurt, which is actually what I used the last time, and it worked out very well. So we had no troubles with that. And then we're going to do, how many eggs did we put in here? Do you remember? Did we do 2 eggs?
Yeah!
All right.
2!
All right, I'm going to pour the eggs, you help. And then the last thing we need to put in there is some vanilla. 1 teaspoon of our vanilla. Let's slide this over. It's practically out of the shot. Okay, there we go. 1 teaspoon of that. And now we're going to, I just cut one of my lemons in half after I rolled it on the counter a little bit, and I almost forgot to add in the lemon juice, which is, kind of the point of these muffins. So we're going to do 1 tablespoon, and a little more because I spilled some in there already, of lemon juice, freshly squeezed. There we go. And we're going to save the other half of the lemon because we need some for the glaze. Now we're going to go ahead and add all of our wet ingredients straight into the dry ingredients. Now we're going to go ahead and whisk this together, and it's going to form a thick batter. And we'll scoop it into our already lined muffin pans and bake at 425 degrees, if I did not already say that. And they're going to bake for about 15 to 17 minutes. Now we're just making sure to scrape the bowl so there's no flour or anything else that didn't get incorporated. And now we're going to go ahead and scoop our muffins a little bit into each cup. This is supposed to make about 12. All right, and here they are. As you can see, the batter is very, and the muffin cups are quite full. For the glaze, we're going to do 1 cup of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice. There we go. And I'm going to save the rest of this over here just in case I want it just a tad thinner. And here is how the glaze is looking. This should be about perfect, and we're going to go ahead and put this on the muffins after they've had a chance to cool. I stuck a toothpick in these muffins and they are done. I did only bake them for the 15 minutes, so I highly recommend that you check them at the lower time that is stated on the recipe. We'll let these cool. I'm only going to glaze a couple because they are still a little warm, but I want to eat it, so here we are. All right, so we're going to use a spoon. And we're just going to drizzle our glaze right over the muffins. You can make your drizzle as thick or as thin as you want. I did let them cool for a few more minutes because the glaze was still just melting off a little too quickly. And voila. This would be great to take, especially if you're going to someone else's house, maybe for a brunch on Easter or, you know, just in general. Brunch is delicious. We should all have more brunch. And so these are great because, you know, they're already individually portioned. They're easy to just stick out on the buffet table and you're good to go. But absolutely, they're delicious and you should just make them for yourself whether you're going somewhere or not. So definitely try this recipe. To a large saucepan, we're going to go ahead and add 3 cups of half and half. I do have a little bit of a cold, so my voice might be just a bit on the scratchy side today. If you're wondering why I don't sound like my normal self. To that, we are going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I will be sure to put the recipe down below for you guys in the description box. 1 teaspoon of salt. Go ahead and turn the stove on. I'm going to do not high heat, but like medium-high heat. We're going to take a shortcut from the store today and use the crushed garlic that you can get in cubes. This comes in the freezer section, and you can just pop out one of these when you need a clove of garlic minced up. So this is the Go and Gather brand, but I've also seen something similar at Trader Joe's as well. So I've also seen ginger and cilantro that way too. So it's kind of a fun product. You literally just pop the little frozen cube of garlic into your pan and you're good to go. It's great. 3 tablespoons of butter. The original recipe called for a stick. I thought that was nuts, so I cut it down. Now I have shared this recipe before on my channel, but it's been quite a long time, and since I have a new camera, I thought I would film it. So we're gonna go ahead and let that just come to a simmer, let the garlic melt and, you know, flavor everything. And while we're waiting for that, we're gonna go ahead and dump half a bag of hash browns. These are from the freezer section. I've just defrosted mine in the fridge overnight. I've also forgotten to do that before and thawed them in the microwave at the last minute. So I'm going to go ahead and spread about half of those out. And then we're going to add some cheese. Now, you pick a whatever kind of cheese that you want. I've done this with Parmesan. I've done it with Kojak. And today I'm going to do shredded sharp cheddar cheese. I've gotten this from Imperfect Foods, and it's pretty good. So the recipe calls for 1.5 cups total of cheese. So this bag is just about 2 cups. So I do half the hash browns and some of the cheese. And then we're going to go ahead and chop about 10 slices of Canadian bacon. Now this is the Jones Canadian bacon that I get at Costco, but if you had leftover ham and you wanted to make this after Easter to sort of like use it up and do almost like a scalloped potatoes and ham type of a thing, you could totally do that also. So I'm just giving this a good cut into nice little bite-sized pieces. We're going to go ahead and break that up and layer it all over. I have a little helper that has decided to join me. All right, so now we're going to add the rest of the hash browns on top, and then River is going to help spread them around, right, sweetie?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead and spread those around nice in a nice even layer for me. It's cold, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like froze.
Yeah, a little bit. You gonna keep moving them around?
Yeah. Looks like it's frozen.
It is still. There's still a few pieces that are frozen. That is true. And then we're gonna put some cheese on top. You want to do a pinch of cheese on there?
This those big cheesy bits.
Yeah, here.
I did it.
Oh, you do want to dump it? Okay, go ahead.
Whoa. We need to pull all the cheese out.
There we go. Straight piece of cheese. All right. Now spread the cheese around a little for me.
Look at this one.
All right, awesome. Yep. Leave it in the casserole dish. Thank you. We're going to give the cream a quick stir, but it is starting to simmer and bubble away. And the garlic is just about melted and broken up. So we're just going to let that finish, but I turned the heat off of the half and half. I said cream. It's half and half. Now this does need to bake for about an hour. So you want to make sure you make it ahead of time. Whoa, not on the pan. Now that this is nice and hot, we're just going to simply pour it carefully over your casserole. And then we're going to put it in the oven. I have one bundle of asparagus that is freshly washed. These ones are about a medium width stalk. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take them, I'm going to break it off, see where it snapped. These are pretty uniform in size, so I'm going to go ahead and use this as a guide to cut the rest of my asparagus instead of snapping them all one at a time. I find this to just be more efficient. And voila. Now we're going to bring in our sheet tray, and I'm actually going to dress the asparagus right on the sheet tray. Nice and easy, and it saves us doing one more dish. So I just like to lay my asparagus out. I usually drizzle them with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And then we're going to roast these in the oven after the casserole comes out at about 400 degrees. So then just to make sure everybody's coated, we're just going to give it a little zhuzh back and forth. And then we're going to sprinkle with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then from there, it's really up to you what you like. You could absolutely leave it just as is. You could do a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Since we already have cheese in the casserole, I don't feel the need for that. You could do a little fresh lemon zest and a squeeze of juice if you want. But I'm honestly just going to do salt and pepper. Boom. Done. That's all we have to do. Once it is in the oven, I usually do about 8 to 10 minutes. I check it at 8, and oftentimes it's ready then. I did cook the asparagus for about 8 minutes, and now it's time to dish up some dinner. It is perfect, and it's looking amazing. Note that beautiful golden brown top on the casserole. So I'm going to give that a scoop.
No, Mama.
That smell is dinner. Can you say hi, YouTube friends?
Hi, YouTube friends. Oh, it's my audio phone.
Yeah, and then
Oh, that's your new phone.
bunch of asparagus.
Oh, that's cool.